autumn day on Sodor. Edward was busy on his branch line. He had been taking passengers to Lower Suttery. It was then the station master walked up. Thomas has been held up at Tidmouth. Can you take his passengers to Hackenbeck? The train is due out in 20 minutes. We'll be there right away. And Edward set off to Tidmouth. There the passengers climbed into Edward's coaches. Thank you, Edward. If it were not for the blasted signal, who knows how I would have been able to get the passengers to Hackenbeck. Edward smiled as the guard blew the whistle. No one noticed that smoke was starting to form underneath the brake coach. Its parts were worn, and it hadn't been checked on for maintenance. The journey was uneventful. The coaches hummed a tune or two by two, and Edward passed by the windmill with good graces. Soon they arrived at Hackenbeck station, the passengers on board at the coaches. It was then the smoke formed visibly on the brake coach. Two of the passengers, who were inspectors, smelt the smoke. Do you smell that? Yes, sounds like smoke. A father and her daughter then saw the visible smoke. As the guard blew his whistle, everything happened at once. Peep, peep, peep! Thank you very... Ah! Edward's safety valve had burst. The passengers were screaming inside the lead coach. Immediately, the smoke was immense. The passengers evacuated the coaches. They were just in time, as with a loud bang, an explosion was heard from beneath the brake coach. Edward turned to see the smoke rising into the air. Edward was trapped, his burst safety valve. There was no escape. The fire brigade were soon alerted by the station master and on their way. Then another bang. This time, it rocked the entire train to the right. Fortunately, Edward did not derail. Edward's crew ran to safety. They felt bad for leaving Edward behind. Then the fire brigade arrived. The fire chief assessed the situation. One of you, get the engine uncoupled from those coaches. Get a line to that source of the smoke. The firefighters fought the smoky blaze from the brake coach, as one of the lieutenants with a pair of cutters tried to free Edward from the coaches. Percy arrived. Quickly his fireman coupled Percy to Edward, as the firefighter uncoupled Edward from the lead coach. Percy with all his strength towed Edward clear of the smoking mess. Soon enough, the fire was put out. But the damage was done. The two inspectors aboard the train inspected and found the problem. As we thought, a hot axle box undetected. The box caused immense friction to the bearings, thus this coach should have been taken out of service. Fortunately, the damage to the coach was not as severe as the inspectors initially thought. The coaches were taken to the works by Thomas, and Percy took Edward to Farquhar. The passengers were taken by Bertie the rest of their journey. After shunting Edward into a siding out of the way, Percy made his way to the quarry to help Mavis. Soon Sir Tom had arrived. He was thankful. The accident was not your fault. Circumstantial by all regards. The passengers are all safe and accounted for, and the coaches will be given long-awaited overhauls. That is wonderful, sir. I am glad that the fire was dealt with. That indeed, Edward. As you know, the Sodor Fire Brigade are also helping a fellow firefighter in Chicago. Oh, yeah, I did hear about that. Herman and his family will overcome this. Because of this situation, the Sodor Fire Brigade is hosting a fundraiser to raise enough to support the Herman family. Then Edward remembered something from this morning. Wasn't there a similar situation in London? Oh, yes. But fortunately, all were well afterwards. Percy will return to take you to the works to have your safety valve mended. I know Thomas had to get his replaced, sir, but... Oh, yes, I know, Edward. It's happening again. But none of that. I must be off. And as Sir Tom had left, Edward was left with confusion and perplexity. Percy returned that evening and shunted Edward to the steamworks. After a few days, Edward was back in service. As for the coaches, they were returned to service a short time after, and as a result, all coaches had to get routine maintenance more thoroughly than before. But what was Sir Tom saying about it happening again? Well, that's a story we all know too well.